Hey Taurus, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be taking a look at your second half of November general reading here. So in your meditation, I saw the image of a duck, and it was a duck very much out of water. It was a duck like it felt like in a desert landscape, not somewhere that you would expect to see a duck or that a duck would really want to be. It's just no water in sight. And I saw the duck quacking away, and I saw its poor little feet getting all dusty, and it was just uncomfortable, and it was quack, 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 looking for its water, looking for its family, looking at, where to go, where do I belong? And then I saw an image of it sort of wandering onto this very hot surface. It felt like the surface of the sun. And it was so hot that it caused it to just jump up in the sky. And when it jumped, it almost like the sun acted as like a very hot trampoline, right? And propelled the duck upward. And then as it got propelled upward, it shifted into a goose and just flew, just like a beautiful northern goose, just flying through the sky. And then I saw as it started to fly, it found its flock. And there were all these other geese around it. And it was like flocking all together. And then it like froze, and it like took a picture, and it was like a snapshot of like a postcard. It was really, really beautiful. So I do get a sense of this, that there's an aspect of finding your flock, finding where you belong, leaning into, that aspect of you that goes like, you know what? I don't want to be a duck in the desert anymore. Duck energy is so beautiful. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's really about allowing, aspects of your experience just float like water off a duck's back, right? Like not letting anything really penetrate your, emotional core, and to experience your feelings as your own, not take others' feelings on. This is especially helpful medicine for empaths. So I do feel like I'm speaking to some empaths out there. So there's that aspect of like, I don't need other people's feelings or needs or wants or desires to affect my inner peace and what I know is right and what feels good for me. It's really interesting how this is coming across. There's also that aspect of like mother goose and ugly duckling, and there's something in that as well, because the story of the ugly duckling is, finding its place, being an outsider, an outcast, and then finding their place in the, group. It's like, oh, it grew up to be a swan. But in this case, it's this aspect of the goose. When I think about goose medicine, it's about fidelity, and it's about trust, and it's about being aligned with someone or a group that feels like they are true soul family. So I feel like this goose medicine is saying you're kind of finding your way as a duck, like in a climate that may not work for you, might seem foreign, and really aligning yourself with a group or opportunity or an aspect of yourself that feels like it's just the right fit, like right at home. It's really, really interesting, Taurus. But remember, it was getting in the hot spot, being on that hot surface of the sun. Like if it's too hot, get out of the kitchen. It was like things got hot enough to where you were propelled upwards, and it was only in that way that you found your wings and turned into a goose and were able to find your flock. So sometimes it does need to get a bit hot in the kitchen, or we need to have some tower moments for us to be moved and incentivized to shift and to take a risk and shift into a new phase or situation that, yes, could be a bit scary, could be a bit different, a bit unknown, but does incentivize us to grow and lands us where we're meant to be. Think about times in your life where you did something scary or took a big risk and it felt really uncomfortable at the time, but then you look back and go, oh my God, that's how I met my wife. That's how I met my husband. That's how I met my best friend. That's how I met, this person who led me to this job. That's how whatever it was. That's coming up for you now. It's really interesting. I feel like we're going into a transition point. So very good. Let's go ahead and see what the cards say. Hey Taurus, let's go ahead and see what your animal energy is for the second half of November. Animal energy for Taurus. Second half of, no one wants to come out. Oh, stop. What were we talking about with the ugly duckling turned into a swan? Except it's a goose, but it's still a swan. This is so stunning. I'm excited for you. Swan equates to that of the star key in the tarot, which is Aquarius energy. I would recommend you watch the Aquarius reading if you feel so called, because it's coming through for you here at the top. You know, this is such a beautiful, stunning energy. This is about that reflective surface and about how, you know, it's interesting because what I was picking up was like not allowing other people's experiences or feelings to impede upon your own inner peace. Right? So it's interesting how this is coming up with that reflection point, right? So this is great hope, great faith, great love. It's destiny, it's wish fulfillment, it's being in the spotlight, and it's being aligned, that mirror aspect, right? It's really, really beautifully depicting that aspect of your meditation where it's like in the water versus, you know, sometimes you got to be in the desert and be in the hot seat or be in the heat of the kitchen in order to be willing to jump up and fly off to, you know, where you really belong or aligned in some greater way. But what did I say about remember the times when you did something or took a chance on something that felt scary or unknown or like a risk, and then going, oh my God, I'm so glad I did that because that's how I met this person or realized this or manifested this opportunity or whatever it is. And then you're having this come in with the star key of like, you know, wish fulfillment, hope, faith, love, fidelity, all of that good stuff. So it's really interesting how this is coming up for you here. But this also speaks of your external environment is a direct reflection of your internal state. Think about that. It's coming up. All right, let's see what's going on. Beautiful, Taurus. So getting the swan. Doesn't come out that often. Here we go. So here we have the 5 of Cups. All right. So let's more water energy for you, by the way, Taurus, more water. So with the 5 of Cups, it's fascinating because this is all about perspective, right? We have the power to shift this, right? But what's really interesting here is that how this is depicted is we've got the 3 cups that are spilt, we've got the 2 cups that are upright. Normally they're looking at the spilt cups, but she is looking at the full cups and still feeling dissatisfied. But what I'm really taken to, she is literally a fish out of water, and we were seeing a duck out of water, like in the desert. It's really fascinating. But this is calling for a shift in perspective. You know, I'm hearing to really acknowledge and be aware of the parts of you that are longing for something else or feel a bit dissatisfied with roads not traversed or chances not taken. I feel like that is going to be your incentive point to actually make some changes and put yourself first in some way, honestly. We've got like a treasure box here that's open and she's not even seeing it. I feel like the dialogue here is like, why even look in the treasure box? Like, I'm not gonna be able to take it with me. I'm not gonna be able to keep all of it. I'm not gonna be able to, there's something about that, right? But you're being asked to shift your perspective, and it's interesting that it's coming up under the light from the star, right? You know, I keep thinking about how that duck had to go stand on a very hot surface in order to find its wings and turn into a goose. There's something, sometimes we really need to fully be dissatisfied with something in order for it to reroute us and incentivize us to make some changes, right? It's interesting how that's coming forward. Full in reverse, right. So I'm gonna hold it in the upright for the sake of the visual. So what's fascinating here is that the tagline for the Fool is leap, but look first, right? So it's about calculated risk. I feel like there's some regret or some hesitation around risks or chances that you took that made you a bit vulnerable or that required you to be in a vulnerable position that maybe didn't work out in some way or scarred you or I don't know, something about that where there's an aspect of you that prefers the safer shores, right? Than the risk of being hurt or exposed or disappointed in some way. The fact that this is in reverse, when this is in the upright, this is about new chances, new beginnings, fresh start, leap of faith, right? But a calculated leap of faith. And the fact that this is in reverse, do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? There's this disconnect here where like the perspective, the vision is off, where this is like a false start or not having everything that you need to move forward or feeling like, you know, what's the point? It's a fool's errand, right? There's something in that for you. I feel like you're being called to reconnect with why you're here, which makes sense with the Aquarius aspect of the soul purpose, right? It's reconnecting with why you're here. Why are you here? What is your soul purpose? What are you here to do? What do you do when you feel like the time has flown and you're in your happiest space? But let me break it down this way. Let's say that you are someone who has a great family group, great family group or friend group. You feel like you're part of your tribe, for example. You feel like you're happy enough, but there's this other part of you that goes, "Ugh, but I never took that chance on that business, or I never gave that opportunity everything I could, or maybe I never gave that relationship all that I could, right? Or maybe I didn't believe in myself, or it wasn't practical or something about that." But you're really being asked to look at the part of you that has flipped the full aspect of yourself upside down, right? There's something about that. And I feel like it's related to this, like the duck, the swan, the goose, that aspect of going from one incarnation into a better, improved version of yourself, right? It's going from being on the hot plate to flight. There's something in that. It's keeping you, it's like the vision is limited or obstructed in some way, right? And you're being, with this star energy, it's like, look within you. Your outer landscape is a reflection of your inner state, right? I will say, this does feel like I don't want to say a quick fix, but it feels like something that can be shifted. Can be well shifted, can be, shifted in a way that is pronounced and almost impressive, I want to say. But the Fool in reverse, that's a blocked energy. It's blocked the parts of you that, have the energy or effort or faith with which to take a leap of faith, start something new, or move ahead around something that, if you're honest with yourself, is really important to you, and with the star key, connected to your soul purpose. If something's connected to your soul purpose, it will never go away. Meaning, you could be 80 years old going, you know what? I don't know how much time left I have on this earth, but I always wanted to be a writer, and I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then you write a book at age 80 that ends up being like a bestseller, and then you die. You know what I mean? It's like if something is truly in your soul purpose, it's never going to leave you alone. You can put it off to the side. You can, delegate it for other things. You can, try to, ignore it, whatever have you, but it will never leave you alone. Just think about it. It's a trope for a reason. How many times have we seen the trope of like the older woman archetype who's like, hi, I could have been a dancer. You know what I mean? I could have been a dancer. It's that kind of aspect. It's that coming through for you. You have an opportunity right now to shift that, right? Better now than later. 9 of Swords, Taurus. I done said though. Sleepless nights, Taurus. Feeling anxious, are we? With the 9 of Swords, this really is like, when I said it won't leave you alone, and then we have the lady who literally can't sleep. She's literally sleeping under all of these swords, waiting for one of them to come crashing down on her. This is kind of that anxiety that keeps you up at night, and it just won't leave you alone. So it's interesting that it's coming up in this way. I'm also really drawn, I don't know if you can see this. Can you see that? Little vampire marks on her neck. What I'm taking from that is vampires are known to be immortal, except for what? When they're in the sun, in the light of day. What does that tell us? In the meditation, we saw the duck on that sun, right? Being launched up into the sky. Bring this stuff into the light. Bring it out into the open, because this stuff is going to come through in your dream time, in your subconscious. It's not going to leave you alone. So it's really about being honest about what this is. And I feel like the key for you, if you're listening to this or watching this, as it were, and you're going, yeah, I do feel like I'm not connected to my soul purpose, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. Or I do feel disconnected from the part of me that believes that anything is possible, like that Fool energy, like that duck energy, but I don't know how to realign it. Pay attention to your dreams. That's what it is. Pay attention to your dreams. Also, you're moving into Sagittarius season here. We're all moving into Sagittarius season, which is the season of harmony, balance, alignment, and spiritual source, meaning you have the ability to connect with this part of yourself that is trying to get your attention and longing for more, right? Something in that. But it's there's a shift that wants to happen, and I feel like with this too, it's going to be something that once you realize what it is, or you bring it out into the bright light of day, suddenly it loses all of its power or hold on you, and you're able to really work with it in a new way and get your wings and end up with your flock where you belong. Whether this is for your work, your soul purpose dream job, your community, your family, love, whatever this is. But another way to bring it out into the light of day is this is when dreams or your subconscious, giving you messages that go into your consciousness and you wake up, you remember, right? But there's another aspect of this as well with the vampire bringing it out into the light. Talk therapy, talk to others, talk to yourself, journal, bring it up. This is not something to be ignored or, put off until later. Okay, this is something where the timing is important because Aquarius energy also speaks of divine timing. So it could be that there's an opportunity that wants to come through for you, or a person that you're meant to meet, or something that spirit wants to align you with in favor of you living out your soul purpose. But you can only be aligned with that if you bring it out into the light of day and acknowledge that something is missing. Okay, something's missing, like John Mayer says, something's missing, but I don't know what it is. Let's get some advice. Your advice is death. Scorpio energy, letting things end so that new things can begin. Metamorphosis, transformation. Fascinating that this is your advice. Scorpio energy, Aquarius energy. These are your two energies. Maybe watch Aquarius and Scorpio videos. I do feel like they're really strong here. This is your advice, this is saying be willing to let go of things that, want to die. Interesting with the vampire thing here as well. Like, let go of things that want to die. Let go of, any thoughts to the contrary of, I'm here to live my fullest and best life, right? There's something about this. It's like, let it go. Let go of any preconceived notions of what is possible for you. Let that die in favor of transformation. Embrace change. Embrace what could be, but also death. Scorpio energy is about secrets, about privacy, about what's hidden. And then we're talking about bringing it out into the light. You might have to delve deep underneath the water like the swan in order to bring it up on the right side to the light of day where it's out in the open, okay? Let's get an oracle. Get an oracle for Taurus. Oh my God. Can you even handle your double swan reality right now? I appreciate the beauty around me. Grace, gratitude, swan, and throat chakra. Can you handle this? This is speaking directly to the 5 of Cups. I appreciate the beauty around me, looking at the cups that are in the upright, looking at the fact that she's literally a fabulous mermaid and should be in that water, not on the shoreline, right? Grace, gratitude. Let me tell you something. When we have a 5 of Cups situation, right? When our perspective needs to be shifted, do you know the number one way to do that in my experience is through gratitude? I'm telling you, when I'm not seeing things clearly, or I'm focused on what isn't working out, or I'm feeling sorry for myself, or I'm feeling frustrated with the way of the world, I know that the best medicine is to shift my attitude to that of, oh God, it's such a trope, but shift my attitude to that of gratitude, really. And sometimes it can be a mantra even when you're not even really feeling it. But trust me, it is the medicine and it does work. So if I'm feeling some type of way about ABC, XYZ, shifting it to gratitude, I'm grateful. And just look around you. I'm grateful for the sun in the sky. I'm grateful for my body. I'm grateful for how beautiful swans are. I'm grateful for my voice, whatever this is for you, right? But there's something about this. Also, when we think about swan medicine, on top, they look very still and graceful and serene, but underneath, those feet are going really, really hard, and it's a lot of effort, right? So there's also an aspect of this where it's surrendering to the will of spirit. But I feel like this is for you. accepting what your soul is asking you to look at and get out of this sort of aspect of, you know, I'm in this, you know, road and I just have to be in there for the rest of my life, or that's not practical, or I'm going to accept it over here. When your soul, your feelings are going to inform you the truth of this. I appreciate the beauty around me, yes, but also appreciating the potential within you that is aligned to a soul purpose that hasn't quite been actualized as of yet, right? Remember how I said writing and talking and all of this, and it's a throat chakra as well. This is really about voicing this stuff and bringing it into the light. I love that we saw the duck in the desert, which turned into the goose, and then we have the swan and the swan both in the water. Hydrate thyself, right? It's really beautiful, Taurus. It's really, really beautiful. So I so hope that this helped and resonated. If so, please let me know in the comments below. I love reading your comments. Also, a bit of drama going on with YouTube where they are unsubscribing people from the channel who are not interacting with the videos outside of just watching it. So if you like and if you comment on the video, that will ensure, fingers crossed, that you stay subscribed. So please like and comment if you'd like to stay subscribed. The link to join the waitlist for my Be Your Own Intuitive membership course is in the description box below. That is now open. And then lastly, just thank you. Thank you so, so much for being here, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Taurians. And most of all, and as always, thank you for being you, and be well. Until next time.